Hey guys, what's up? I am here to give you guys my final recap and final thoughts on RWBY Volume 7 on Chapter or Episode 13, whichever one that seems fitting for you. Now, I think there might be a lot of people who may have a certain problem in this episode, and I think I could point out certain issues too when I looked at it, when I looked at some comment section, you know? So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that everyone else is making their escape. Jean, Ren, Nora, and Oscar will let on take on Neo. But unfortunately, she proves to be a little bit too much for them to handle. Due to, Neo's reflexes as an athletic person and her combat skills being very deadly when it comes to close combat. And we've seen this before in many volumes back. In Volume 2, and now we see it in Volume 6, where she almost actually cornered Cinder unless Cinder used her powers, and seeing her using it against Ren, Nora, Jean, and Oscar, and taking back the lamp or something and using her semblance to get away with the guards. Yeah, she proves to be a little bit too much for them, and she did take back the lamp even though Oscar got it back. But we see to it that we get to see another scene where Cinder takes on Winter and Penny, and it looks like to me they seem to be on par on holding her back, which is really shocking because I expected Cinder to maybe be a little bit above them in terms of combat and power levels, But I guess when it comes to a certain android and then fighting experienced military high-ranked position, I can understand that. But aside from that, I'll continue with the fight with Cinder and Winter and Penny a little bit later. Let's get to a scene where Jean, Ren, and Nora will later on make their escape eventually, but Oscar himself decides to try to talk to Ironwood and try to make him understand that this is what Salem wants. If you keep going down this path, you'll be no different from her. But Ironwood, unwilling and being unreasonable, he decides to shoot Oscar and tells him that we have to make difficult choices. And I'm thinking in my mind, what the heck, Ironwood? You've gone mad, dude. And the moment Oscar started falling, he ends up getting a voice from Ozpin, which I'll get to just a moment. Let's continue the fight with Cinder, Penny, and Winter, Cinder will later on actually push Winter and Penny outside, even though Penny will later on rescue Winter from falling, after Cinder did enough damage. She ends up talking to the current Winter Maiden, which I go if you're gonna start talking, man, you're just wasting time. This is where it got a little bit problematic, or became a problem, because Cinder should have at least stabbed her or killed her and take the powers herself right away, but she decided to go with this big long talk, which I go oh my gosh, dude, if you're gonna start rambling on about your dang speech, going, oh, your time's up, or it's my turn to take your powers, blah, 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 you're wasting time. And she did, because the Winter Maiden will later on use her icy powers to a point where Cinder can't get near, or Winter, because it's too cold. Unfortunately, Penny will be the only one, because she's an android, and androids can't really feel, and she's metal. Obvious from the get-go. She will later on calm the Winter Maiden, and the Winter Maiden says she doesn't remember much, but she knows that she's ready now, and says, "Are you the one?" And we see to it that Cinder tries to interfere with Penny, but Winter will later on hold her back long enough for RWBY and Weiss, after knowing what's going on, will later on save Penny and stop Cinder. Of course, RWBY will use her silver eyes, and later on, the Winter Maiden will transfer her powers to Penny, since she is the last person or last thing that came to her mind, and therefore Penny is now the new Winter Maiden, And going back to the scene with Oscar falling down, we have to it that Oscar, on the other hand, ends up having to talk to Ozpin having to talk to Oscar and teaches him how to control his powers, but at the same time make a speech about fear. How fear controls people, and how it turns you what you are, or makes you make very bad or tough decisions here and there, Eventually, Oscar will later on land safely thanks to the newfound powers that he found within himself with Ozpin, But aside from that, we see to it that the way how it ended, well, it's really terrifying. But at the same time, Crow and Robin are arrested, and as for the others, They managed to escape with Penny, and of course Winter gives them a head start. And seeing how she's still loyal to Ironwood really sucks, man. I mean, though I can understand where she's coming from, but still. And eventually, the way how the episode ended, Ironwood finds out that it's gone, and Ironwood screams out in frustration, and we see to it that that there's another problem. There's a giant wave of Grimm, not to mention a giant looking like whale flying Grimm or headquarters that might belong to Salem, ends up showing up, and she smiles in a menacing way, getting ready to deliver a killing blow possibly, or saying, "Oh, this is gonna be fun," kind of thing. And the episode and the chapter episode ends off there. But we also get to see Arthur Watts and Cinder getting the lamp given by Neo and getting ready for other things, etc. Of course, like I said, the episode ends up with a giant freaking whale looking like Grimm whatsoever, with Salem riding on top of it with her other Grimm beside her and getting ready to go to head-on war or something. And she smiles in a menacing way, getting ready to destroy Atlas. So yeah, and then the credits roll. I'm guessing the credits, the way how that credits rolled, that's the final episode. I mean, we've seen that in Volume 6, Volume 5, and Volume 4, and possibly many other volumes before that, and yeah. So, yeah, Salem arrives, everyone else escaped, but I'm pretty sure they're going to go back with Oscar having to be left behind. I'm pretty sure they're going to go back for him. There's no way in hell they're not going to do that, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go back to Atlas and fight Salem. I mean, that's the obvious get-go. Anyways, here I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts on this volume. I gotta say it's not too bad. It's pretty nice here and there, but I guess there's still some problems that people had with it, possibly maybe because of the way how it went or etc., which I can understand. And Ironwood being a madman, that's kind of that's pretty much a problem, even though I can understand that, but still. And although I never thought to see Team RWBY grow so much to defeat most of Ace Ops elites, but I guess because they got trained by them, it's understandable, but still, it's still a little, yeah. Anyways, also, Cinder. Next time, just kill the freaking maiden and just take the power. Stop making long speeches or something that could get your enemy to get where you're at and stop you from getting what you want. Let's be honest, Cinder should have gotten the Winter Maiden powers, but because of her stupidity or certain plot device or armor happening, she couldn't be able to do so. However you want to call it. Yeah, I know what I'm saying is rambling on, but yeah. Forgive me for being nitpicky here and there, but just speaking out my thoughts. But aside from that, yeah, Salem showing up with that giant whale Grimm in a wave of army Grimm. Atlas is already at its vulnerable spot. Arthur Watts is still alive. Cinder's got the lamp, is about to deliver it to Salem. And yeah. Let's just say next volume, which I believe it should come out at almost towards fall 2020, hopefully. I hope that is the case. I don't know. That's up to Rooster Teeth. But I'll be sure to keep my best up to date with the news. Yeah. Not too bad of a volume. I mean, it's really nice to see Atlas and everything all together and so forth. Although, there might be some issues in this volume, which I'm trying to point out, but, Still loved it in a certain way. Looking forward to next volume, which I believe is going to be very action-packed. There's no way in denying that, because Salem, she's taking matters into her own hands. And honestly, it wouldn't be too surprising if Salem won the battle. I mean, the fight or war in the next volume, because let's think about it. She has a giant wave of Grimm. She has ways of upgrading them. Not to mention, she's unkillable, because the freaking gods made her unkillable. So, guess we're going to have to find out how our characters or heroes are going to fare this one out, especially with Ironwood and Madness, and yeah. Until then, people, I hope you guys enjoyed the volume as much as I did. I did have my fun here and there, although there might be some problems I had with it here and there. But still, it's not too bad. So, until then, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm Alpha Zitto. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Toot-toot-toot!